magnetic components on them, jewelry, belt buckles, mobile phones, anything like that that can produce a magnetic field is taken from the subject, because it can produce noise in the signals, which can give which is not good for the machine or the study. Get the subject seated in the scanner. Then we go ahead with recording, calibrating sensors, making sure the person's in a comfortable position, get their head inside the gantry, making sure the camera and intercom systems are working, and the patient or the participant in the MAG can communicate with the researcher, and indeed the recording itself, which can anything from, I suppose, 30 minutes to 1 hour would be the kind of typical experiment. Post-recording, course subject preparation, everything's done in reverse. Remove coils, making sure the subject's briefed after the study, etc. And indeed filter any noise from the signals, analyze the data, and produce the results from that. That takes us on to the IAPD, or Indian Affective Picture Database, that we have been using in the current study for the ASD children, which was developed by Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. It's a set of images depicting 5 basic emotions: happy, sad, fear, anger, and neutral. And 5 different visual angles. As you can see, here's the happy emotion at 5 different angles: 0 degrees, -45, +45, -90, and +90 degrees. So it's facial images of in this case, the happy emotion, where the participant's tasked with looking at it and deciding if it's a happy or sad emotion. We kept the happy and sad emotion for the current study, autism, because just to keep the study simple for now. IAPD has currently only been validated on a healthy or typically developing population, but the study what we're doing now at NIEPAD is using the IAPD for autistic individuals, autistic children. Of course, we have the workshop from last year called Ulmer ASD. So we have extended this. We have had the workshop last year, something similar to now. What we have learned at the workshop last year has been incredibly helpful, because getting ASD children to sit in, for example, the MAG, or even put on an EEG cap, has been proven to be, it can be tricky. They cannot, for example, they may not take to the technology. It will be uncomfortable for them, or anything like that. So what we've done now in the current study is we actually present a cartoon to the participant, to the child, and give every 60 seconds produce the cartoon will stop. We will give them the stimuli here. The picture database we present 10 trials of the happy and sad picture database to try and get their response on if they see a happy or sad image. That will then give us what we think in the next slide would be here, where you can see this N170 ERP. That's an electro. The neural processing of faces. So the N170 ERP is considered to be the most prominent electrophysical neuromarker of ASD. That's the current, seems to be where the current research is going. That's what we're looking for. Indeed, we haven't done any analysis yet on the research done, but we're hoping to find some sort of neuromarker related to N170 or N170. That's ERP, means event-related potential, meaning that when we present a picture of the face, that the image comes up, produces this N170 response in the brain. Indeed, we're doing it at the minute in NIEP PAD with the electroencephalography, but we hope to do that in Ulster University here with the magnetoencephalography, which will give us better resolution and stuff. But the electroencephalography study currently done will give us some insight as what to do next. For example, what specific area of the brain to concentrate on, and going forward that may produce some meaningful results. So the MEG, having the whole head analysis, is the advantage with the MEG that you don't get with the EEG. So going forward, we'll do some MEG studies here at Ulster, hopefully. Indeed, the reason why we're doing this is early and accurate diagnosis, and therefore timely intervention can help the ASD population and their parents, caregivers, teachers, for example, all kind of people, stakeholders, to get so kind of improve the quality of life for all, and really make a difference in these children's lives and their parents, caregivers. That's actually the last slide. Am I still online? Yeah. Yep. So that gives you a brief overview there of the research we're doing at Ulster, and the research that's ongoing at the minute at NIEPD with Sir Gurjesh Prasad and Ria and Junie and all the team there. And I really thank the team for their very, very helpful, lots of help that we've been getting over the past 2 weeks. I really apologize because I have really wanted to be there in person. I don't deal well with the online stuff as well, but I really wanted to be there in person. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a visa to travel to India. I'm not sure why, but the intention was me to be there in person, and I really regret that I'm not. But there's nothing really we can do about it. But I hope that gives a brief overview of our research here, and I think that's my presentation. But again, thank you very much to all, including NIPAD team, Braj Bhushan, and my colleague Gurjesh Prasad for the very high-class, very successful trip to India and research and this workshop.
Thank you, Ryan. Thanks a lot for such a nice talk on the different tools that we are using these days to unravel the mystery of autism conditions. So that would be a nice. That was a nice glimpse on what kind of studies that we have been doing in different parts of the world. So we're very lucky to have you here. So I know that you were planning to come here and something got stuck. You might be here, but this time addressing us from India only. So better luck next time that you'll be in India. Next time we'll have much more deep discussions on that. Thank you, Ryan. Thanks a lot for such a nice insight on different kind of researches that Ulster University is doing, and Ryan and Professor Gurjesh Prasad both are involved into. So now we have moved from different kind of talks, from the policy making, from capacity building, from psychiatric perspective, to the institutions from Dr. B. Ramkumar, and as well as from Secretary Sir. We have been actually been nicely covers a lot of diverse topic in such a very short span of time. So now I would like to welcome Srimati Ruma Chaturvedi, uh, Research and Center Head PKMC. I have a very high regard for her because I know her personally. She has been doing fantastic work since in Kanpur. She runs a very beautiful center in Kanpur, which is kind of a very inclusive. And she also has an inclusive school in Kanpur. It's very unheard of to even I would request a lot of people to go and see the setups. It's really very worth to go and see what kind of work really my ma'am has been doing in Kanpur. So ma'am, I would like to invite you for this speech. So your time, allocated time is 15 minutes. The floor is yours, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dhuniraji. Thank you, NIPIT, Ulster University, IIT Kanpur, and for giving me this opportunity to present the parents' perspective. So we have heard the researchers, we have heard the psychiatrist, and I would like to start from where? First of all, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I would like to start from where Dr. Rajen Gupta ji ended. There was a lot of statistics in that and quite the right one. So as a parent, we might be just one of the statistical data. But for us, we live with autism 24 into 7. For us, that child with autism is our whole universe. So in the next 10 to 12 minutes, I'd like to tell you a story because we make stories, stories make us. And I think today is the right audience for my story. So drawing from that statistical data, what happens? The most important point today that we need to discuss upon is that, like I could see right now, 172 or 181 participants in this particular workshop. And we all are more or less related to the field of disability, and we are having this conversation around. But what is really essential is that people outside know about this neurodiversity or this neurodivergent condition. Because what happens as a parent, when we also get the diagnosis that autism bomb drops on us, we have never ever heard the word autism. There is so less level of awareness. Once we get the term autism, we really don't know what to do with it. We search the net. Dr. Alok Bajpayee ji pointed out, doctor shopping. The first thing is, let me get a diagnosis wherein, somebody says this is not autism. And that what really happens. And I'm speaking on behalf of most of the parents, because there is so much lack of awareness, even amongst the pediatricians, with due respect to each one of them, that it takes a lot of time to get the right diagnosis. Once we get the right diagnosis, we don't understand what autism is. And then there is this search for right therapy center. And then what happens? There are, like in my case, and I would like to be addressed as Kush's mom, because most of us as mothers, we get rechristened as, ex-ki mummy, Kush's mom. So we go from one place to another, finding the right therapy center, and all across what is there are good therapy centers, there are bad therapy centers. There is scarcity of professionals, as already pointed out by the data given to us. So what do we do as parent, the main stakeholder? Talking about, there are a lot of initiatives, as Ramu sir talked about. But we could see in the chat how many of us knew about e-Sanidhya or e-Sadhya, which is in process. So again, the whole thing comes back to the lack of awareness, and then for us as parents to understand and get into these online things. Each of us is different. Every child on the spectrum is different. And then it's like a lot of chaos. And I would like to bring in the human side to my story. The burden of caregiving falls on the mother, because you have brought that child into the world. And most of us, we have seen, as in my practice as a facilitator, prime facilitator at PKMC, where we are working with around more than 150 kids on the autism spectrum, and we keep meeting parents often. So the emotional part of, the caregiving burden, the caregiving fatigue, there will be just 2 fathers who will come to the center. There will be 98 mothers who will do all the household chores, bring their child to the therapy center. Then the second thing is the way community treats us. First, let us talk about the family. It's very rare to find a supportive family. And then most of the time, I've seen this thing, the autism is even blamed on the mother. You have certain traits, that's why your child has autism. Then comes the whole community. Our kids are not invited to the birthday parties. Whenever we go to mall, we all talk about inclusion. These are good words. But the real experience on the ground is, it's so heartbreaking, it's so gut-wrenching. You take your child to a public space, and what happens is that others will take their child away as if autism is contagious. These all doesn't sound good, but this is the harsh reality most of us as parents face in day in and day out. Then comes the schooling part. What had been the common, I won't say, the thing that's going around, as if autism would just be cured by putting the child into the school. Put the child into the school, the child will start talking, or the child will, if we have to understand that this is a neurodiverse condition wherein we will have to have schools with proper special educators, with proper accommodations and modifications, and the sensitivity level has to begin from the Gardbhaya's level to each and every teacher in the environment. So this is a daily struggle that we face as parents. Now, so this is all the whole ecosystem. And it is very difficult for a parent to actually get the diagnosis, get the intervention, get him into a school, figure out what he or she is good at. And then fine, the child is good at painting, but will there be painting schools or hobby clubs will be willing to take the child in? So we face a lot of struggles around. And then there is obviously the NIS, and even when we reach to higher level academic institutions also, the struggle for a parent never ends. And in my concluding remarks, or the good part of the story has to end on a good note. I would first urge, like all these schemes, all this good work which is done by NEPID, passed on through CRCs, there has to be some mechanism through which it should pass on to NGOs, and it should pass into the public domain. Like every parent just got a diagnosis, there has to be some government recognized portal where he or she logs in and gets all the information, and so on and so forth. The second thing is about increasing awareness and sensitivity about autism in the public domain, and the government is very powerful and can do a lot of things. We all are willing stakeholders in this process, but how we can be involved in that process is something that I would strongly sort of request and ask. And as we are running a small facility at Kanpur, because we figured out we have to have good rehab practices, evidence-based, research-based practices in the immediate vicinity. It's not possible for a parent to go to metro cities because it is a long-term process, and parental involvement is important. We make sure, as Dr. Alok Bajpayee, he happens to be my mentor because we live really close by in Kanpur. So is parent empowerment. Basically, we run a lot of training facilities where we make sure that you understand autism. Autism is not going to go away. And it's so disheartening to see, centers across all over India. We've been to places where they make a fool of gullible parents. They tell you, 3 months therapy in, autism out. So we as parents need to get the right, credible information, and also a certain level of awareness in the society and the community to make it more inclusive. We had been using in our very little capacity on an individual basis, we have been trying to run an inclusive school, and it is all a process. We have been trying to raise awareness, and I'm so thankful to Dhuniraj. He's been so kind and generous with his praise. And we make sure that we go out, we do nukkad nataks around the neighborhood. Let's start small, the community. Tell them about why would they? Because see, it's a very niche area. If I am living with autism, autism is paramount for me, but not for others. So let's put it across in more interesting ways. Let's do nukkad natak with autism as the central theme. We had been going to a lot of schools and colleges, gathering, young people, because they should know about autism. They should, the sensitivity, when we talk about, they don't get a chance. Autism doesn't go away at 18, but it gets harder for them to fit into employment roles because the organization is not sensitized. AFA is doing a wonderful job. I'm right now doing an employment readiness program for my son who's 18. So this is all very, very important. Then we make sure that we give little platforms to our kids to show their talent, because they are always like, they never get a chance to show what they have to offer. And it's a conversation. We just have to keep on banging unless the message goes right and across to each and everyone. And my humble request to the all the stakeholders, and we're really fortunate to be getting so much information. Make sure that it's pretty well disseminated. While I was attending this workshop, I got a couple of messages from my very dear friends that the presentation by Dr. Rajendra Gupta ji should be sent to all of us. And also these schemes that that sir was talking, Ramu sir was talking, and also Raj CRC sir, the sir was talking, should be made available. And I would end it by saying, in my personal capacity, what little understanding I have of autism, and in my personal experience of 19 years, is that, firstly, early diagnosis, early intervention, early therapies is important, but making sure that the child is involved in the community setting as much as possible. My son is interested in sports. That's why he's into powerlifting. He's into Special Olympics, Bharat. But we all know that, sports has a limited shelf life. So we are also thinking about what else. So he is also doing computers. He's good in cooking. So we are making sure that probably he could do something, could run a small restaurant or whatever. But we all understand, when a person has autism, he needs a lot of support. And there's so much more to be done, because no matter our child has Asperger's or is high functioning autism, mild, moderate, or severe, as a parent, when we go off to go to bed, and the last thought that we have in our mind, what after us? So we all have to collectively work so that each parent can sleep well. Yes, there's something that he will do after us. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot. Actually, it's such a nice and insightful talk, and really a lot of things to learn from you. I really remember that when I was practicing, when parents used to come, as a the whole family used to come to show the parent, so to show the child. So there was somehow I once felt that they were the kind of questions they were asking me was something they want to put an onus to on the mother, that it is something is wrong on her, and that's because that the child has gone wrong. So that's kind of things are very, very common in our practices. We keep getting such kind of cases. So we, as a professionals, have to be very, very aware of such a socio-cultural context in which we have, in which how to conceptualize cases, and also to how you communicate those things to parents. Is rightly said that most of the onus or a burden goes to the mothers, and mostly they are the one who take take the burden of taking care of all the aspects of their, even most of them where I've seen that they become good therapists. They are much more learned people. In my practice also, I've always taken care of asking them how they have dealt with such problems, because there is given a lot of insight on learning from them, you know. So such a nice first, and so I'm very thankful. There was such a nice talk, ma'am. So so we are moving towards an end of the program. We still have a few more speakers. We have with us Srimati P. Hima Bindu, as a very interesting. She is our student, as an MPhil student in FPID, and she's a mother of a child with autism. And I would like to invite her because, as not as a mother but as a professional, she's getting trained. It would be nice to hear her journey as a mother. I would like to welcome Hima Bindu on the floor, and the floor is yours. The time allotted to you is 15 minutes. Thank you. Hima. Hima. Just a minute, Hima. Well, sir, Hima Bindu. Last. इधर Hima Bindu. Just a minute. Yeah, you can unmute yourself now.
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Binraj Chetri sir for giving me this beautiful opportunity. Can you hear me? Yeah. So I'm a mother of Sagar, who is 18 years old son with mild autism. So it is because of him I entered the field of psychology, not for career change, but to understand him better and support other families like us. Today, I speak not as a professional, but as a parent advocate carrying lived experiences of my lived experiences of 18 years with autism. So what I would like to tell my small story. Like my son's development seemed to be typical till the age of 2, but after traveling, but by 2.5 years of age, we told it was autism. For the first time, I heard the word autism, and it shattered me. But by the time being a strong lady and as a strong lady myself, so I thought, okay, if it is autism, we will fix it. It's not a problem. But later I understood that autism is a lifelong problem. Today I want to talk not about myself, because being in many forums and many WhatsApp groups, and my life in NIPID for the past 3 years, and being an early interventionist, I get to meet many parents carrying a 2-month-old baby to 60 years old senior citizens. Also I have seen and met with the parents and all. So I'm talking on behalf of them also. And now I see many of my classmates and my juniors sitting in front of me in the conference room. I would like them to understand also the parental perspectives, because every day we see minimum 4 to 5 cases in NIPID, which is like a not short of a temple for me, and a great institution for my learning, and for you also. We all should be proud of it. So although we are like parents, we are like educated and we are committed, but when we hit with this child with autism, we were completely lost. Completely lost means we will be given a set of therapies and the label of diagnosis and all, but we were like completely lost. But as a parent, what we require is not the label or not just the diagnosis. We need a roadmap. So we need professionals who walk with us and who explains us the things, and who follow ups us. It is not about our survival; it is about the life of the child, and also the life of the parents and the family surrounding them, because it is highly affected. So the support must extend to the whole family, and what all the therapies and interventions which you plan should be family centered, not only the child centric, but lots of emphasis to be given on a family centered approaches. So now my worry is like, I agree to each and every point said by Mrs. Chaturvedi, and and the other common point is my son is also 18 years old. So my worry extends to a point that what will happen when I am gone. It's not about survival, and it's not about survival of my son. It's about how he lives with dignity, joy, and support. So in India, what we see is normally we talk about the autism services as mentioned by other eminent personalities and the other professional. It is stopping by the age of 18. Beyond that, we haven't planned that much in India. But when by the definition of autism, what we say is it is a lifelong disorder. When we talk about it, are we really equipped with that lifelong care which we are supposed to give for any individual? Because every day matters, even the last day of life also matters a lot. But what practices we are doing to make the child live with make the child or the young adult or the senior citizen with an autism live with dignity? So there are, yes, there. So what I feel is I dream of this community, not just the organizations. I really know, I'm very fortunate to witness the dial department in NIPID, which is the a very good model of the entire country. But why is it restricted to one institution? Why not it is in the very district level? For that, we have to really think about it, why many centers are not there for the occasional training, and where the adults will they work, they live at a place, and where they have their own club. Because when care comes, it should not be like a clinical, it should be like human also, like human in the sense ki, uh, how they live and how they interact with, and what are their concerns, and everything should be given at utmost priority. So as a parent and as a parent advocate, I am looking forward to have this autism specific the housing clusters, just like how the government or the bank will give a house loan or a home loan to each and everyone, like who is like who can be affording that loan and all. So parents also should be given importance in choosing our own autism specific clusters, where we can come up as a team, and we can combine each and everything like a therapy center, all inclusive setup. So when the child turns into adulthood, and when the transition happens, he should be having a space to live it. But of late, what I observed by roaming around different places of India, they were all like each and every center, there is no guidance rules which they're following. All they do is to put the child in a small cubicle and give one-on-one therapies. What I seen, even the so-called the most famous centers also, we are not teaching any animals, or we are not giving we are not this is not at all a good practice. The environment in which, or the space an autistic child enters, should be well maintained, and everyone should follow the guidelines. And I request all the policy makers to check in the so-called child therapy centers, whether they're following the proper where they're doing the proper practices or not. It is not just the therapy, it is the holistic intervention which we have to see, and a very and the space should be autism friendly. And we have the trained caregiver networks in the form of the Sahyogi also. But under the national trust, what sir has also mentioned. But what about the Sahyogis who are trained? As an extension of after the training, they should be given an internship, and they have to match it to any other parent. They have to go to homes, and they have to help the parents who are interested, and they have to help them. So I just want to say here that it is Sahyogi schemes, and under the national trust, it should not end up as a training module, but it should extend as a home-based setup also. Just if you can imagine every mother being like trained under a Sahyogi, someone who visits the home, understand the daily routines of the child, and offers an emotional and practical support to the parent, it is much more essential. Because let's be honest, like therapists and psychologists cannot be with us every day, but a Sahyogi or a trained care partner can make a real daily difference in the autism families. So although we have many schemes and we have many policies, but when it comes to the implementation part, we lag a lot. We are lagging when it comes to the practicality. So we have to look into that also. So I would like to ask one more question. Like whenever we talk of autism and familiarities, I would like to mention, that we have to talk about the schools and its prevention too. So why aren't the school books teaching about autism, and why are the children never introduced to neurodiverse characters? When we talk about the so-called the superheroes, why there can't be a neurodiversity? Because my point here is inclusion begins with familiarity. Textbooks are the first places to normalize differences, and I feel a lack of in the schools also. Why isn't the maternal health part of the school is education, especially for the girl child? So why don't the girls learn about taking care of themselves during pregnancy, when when they know it much before in the school level also? Because especially what I see is the 12 weeks of pregnancy is much more critical in the brain development. So so this should start from the school it's from the school ages itself, for everyone to be familiarized. So I would also like to ask, my point is that why do parents have to learn only when it is like after diagnosis? We should be having the idea. So whenever we go to the pediatrician, they will be handing us, the immunization card. So I feel, and I request the other pediatricians also, so they should be having this red flag checklist, and we have to be given a handout of other 21 disabilities list or any other genetic conditions, other red flag checklist along with the immunization card, so that all the parents will be familiar at the early ages itself. So I'm not asking too much, but I'm asking for systems to think for a long term, and and to treat the parents as a partners. We are not just the take carers, because I know that my son when never speaks, but his presence has changed me, everything in me. I'm no longer the same woman I was before his diagnosis. I'm really proud of that. I know every autism, the mother with who has a child with autism has changed over a period of time for better. The increased levels of patience, the increased level of knowledge we have increased, but we all systems to think about us also. So finally, I want to leave you with one thing. When we talk about autism, let's not talk about only the childhood. We have to talk about life. For the entire life of a child with autism, because our children are growing up and we must grow the system also as according to them. So to all the professionals and policy makers over there, I'm not we are not questioning of your abilities and science, and it is so good. And being a psychology student, I'm so fascinated about the all the research has developed so far. So we are also here to complete it, and we and to associate with you with a lived wisdom what we have got through this our life journey with autism. So for my conclusion words will be, to go fast we can go alone, and to go far we have to go together. Please let us go together for a better future for these children with autism, and for every individual with autism and their families also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emma. Thanks a lot. As hearing to you is a kind of a new experience for us, for everyone, actually. So you pointed out so many important things that are needed to be taken care of, not only as a caretaker, but from someone who is talking from the inside perspective, from a professional perspective. So your talk is an amalgamation of both a clinician, a staff clinician, and a mother and a caretaker who has been through that journey of bringing up a child with autism. So your insight upon this thing would really be will really be heard of properly. And I think my friends and colleagues who are sitting here and across the participants who are sitting across different places will obviously will get a lot of insight from your talk. So now moving forward, I thank you for Bhima for such a nice talk. So for moving forward, we have with us Professor Brajbhushan from IIT Kanpur. He is Deputy Director of IIT Kanpur. He has been doing a lot of research in autism since many years. So we are very delighted to have him from. I'm thankful for him for giving us time from his very busy schedules. So I would like to invite Professor Brajbhushan to take the floor. And yeah, so over to you, sir. Also, Brajbhushan, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. You have to unmute, sir.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Okay, so very good afternoon to all of you. It's a privilege for me to be associated to this workshop, and special thanks to Professor Grijesh Prasad, Ryan, both of them, who have been instrumental in getting this workshop organized. I'll share my screen, show a couple of slides to you, to share what are the different kinds of activities with respect to autism that we are doing here at IIT Kanpur. So I hope my screen is visible to you, right?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir.
Okay, so because I have only 15 minutes time, so I'll just quickly rush through the different kinds of activities that we have been doing for years now. Our journey with autism spectrum disorder, it began much earlier. In 2008 was the time when we started this journey at IITK. And at that time, our focus was primarily on the perceptual aspect. So the mapping of the abilities or the challenges that these children face in terms of object recognition. And the objective was to ensure that with the minimum discomfort, they should be able to run their day-to-day life. So we took all objects which are found in a normal household in India, and it was based on the eye tracking device. The importance was given to different kinds of geometric shapes, the basic concept of geons, basically the basic structure. This work was over by 2015, and between 15 and 18, two kinds of work we took, because we knew what are the different kinds of objects that these children tend to get attracted towards or have challenges recognizing. And this brought us to development of tangible toys for children with autism. And this was made, this was tested, you can see the photographs. And then started the hardcore, what you call as the technical journey. In 2020, we completed a work which was basically vision and learning based detection of autism. And these children were shown certain visual stimuli, and we were recording the faces of these children. And using the optical flow technique, certain algorithm, we just try to find out that is there a way wherein you look at certain kind of configurational changes in expression, and from there you can infer the severity of the problem. Last year, this work got published in one of the conference proceedings. This is just comparing how the normal children look and how basically comparing the neurotypical and atypical groups, right? And you can see that in neuroatypical, the fluctuation is too much. So their ability to concentrate on something, even visually spend few milliseconds extra on the visual stimuli is challenging. Just a visual representation in terms of how these two groups, the neurotypical and atypical, their eye behavior uh, was recorded. And thereafter, we decided that let us focus on enhancement of the emotion recognition ability and thereby the social communication skill of these children. So we were largely interested at this point in time in development of an intervention. And this has, of course, gone a long way, I would say. So development of uh, a database, what we call as the Indian Affective Picture Database now, standardizing it, and to ensure that this can be used as a training module for these children so that they can understand the behavior of others, the non-verbal signals, and they can communicate as well. So issues such as deficit in empathy, in emotion recognition was the primary target. Uh, on the bottom, you can see the year when we published it. So this was the database. No, we took the expressions from 5 different angles, and Professor Brajesh Prasad is here in this workshop. He and along with me and many others, this team even took this work to a different height. I'll come to it a little later. So we were looking at these kinds of things, the variable intensity, and we even went ahead with interpreting the configurational changes that appear as and when there is a change in the intensity of different kinds of facial expressions. And this was done using the mathematical model of fractal dimension analysis. This work is still going on in much more refined fashion, I would say. Meanwhile, in 2022, we added a new problem to our checklist. And at this point in time, we were more interested in early detection of autism. And this was based on gait deviation. As you can see here, we looked at the walk pattern of kids. And based on, again, the machine learning technique, we tried to find out if uh, the broad autism phenotype and the gait deviations, these two can be combined to make a very early diagnosis. And our result shows that when you look at the walk pattern of kids, you can make a very early judgment on a possibility of ASD. And my gut feeling based on these kind of studies is that when kids start turning sides, when they are too small, they have not yet even started crawling, you can still make a judgment. But of course, we don't have a data. It's only a gut feeling because the data shows this. There are certain motor movement patterns, and from there you can infer it. In between, based on the first study that we started in 2008, where we were looking at geons and the basic shapes, we are still in the process of designing some more tangible toys, which resembles not to the toys, but also to the household items. And this is just to make them understand the basic geometry this world is endowed with, so that it makes their perceptual component of their life much easier. Very recently, this is not a published work. Very recently, we have gone a step ahead in using Now Robot to train children to express themselves not only through their face, but also through their gestures, right? And we, for this purpose, we captured the school children of comparable age, asked them to express themselves. Okay, so it's not only face, but the entire gesture and posture put together. And then it was mimicked in the robots. And when you mimic it in the robots, okay, then these robots basically tell you how Indian children express themselves non-verbally, right? Psychology is full of evidence that there are cultural differences in terms of expressivity. Okay, especially that has to do with the negative emotions. So this is what we have done. Uh, right now, one of our team is working using the Now robot, and we are using it as an intervention module to uh, teach these kids or train these kids in three aspects. One, in terms of head rotation. Two, in terms of focusing at an object for relatively longer period of time. And third, to assist them express even through their gestures and postures. Going back again to the previous study where I was referring to early detection of ASD based on gait deviation. This was another study published again last year. And our firm belief is that in few years' time only, we would be in a position to come forward with a possibility where parents can upload the small video footages of their kids walking, and we would be from our end in a position to tell them the probability of the child having an issue, so that on time or much earlier in the life of the kid, they can take help of the specialist. They can go for a full-fledged clinical diagnosis. So our step is only in terms of tech-enabled early detection. So this is just a demo. We are looking at all joint angles of the body, and based on the analysis of the joint angles using machine learning algorithm, this is only a little step, I would say, in terms of helping parents with early detection. Going back to what I was telling you earlier, that the Indian Affective Picture Database that we had developed, where we had expressions recorded from 5 different angles, right from extreme left profile to extreme right profile. What you find on the screen being mentioned as -90 and +90. Professor Grijesh Prasad was one of the co-authors here. You can see the reference. This got published this year itself. And here, our idea was to look at the MEG outcomes, analyze them to find out how the positive and the negative emotions are processed, both in terms of the not only the behavioral accuracy, because earlier study was purely based on subjective responses, looking at the behavioral accuracy. This time we were looking at how the temporal decoding takes place of the positive and the negative emotions. You can see here the front profile of the happy versus the sad face of one of the individuals there expressed in our database. And on the bottom, you see the temporal decoding, the time difference between happiness and sadness. Okay. And this gave us a very clear idea in terms of how the front profile is examined and detected, how the side profiles are. Just to deviate a bit, that the left and the right side of the human faces are not considered to be equally expressive, right, in terms of any emotion. So which side you are looking at matters. So which emotion, which side, and from which cultural background. So these three things becomes important besides the neurological ability of the child to decode the expression that is being communicated. And all of this has no extreme importance in terms of social communication ability. And the most recent work where we are looking at the expressions, we have now another database. We call it Indian Affective Picture Database 2, because the first database had men and women both, but the men with in a what we call slightly close to natural setting, because none of them had beards or mustaches. In this very case, we have people with the males with clean shave with beards and mustaches both. So it's more naturalistic, the way you look at things in the real world, where some might have some facial hair, some might not have it. And there are a good number of studies suggesting that if the same expressions are converted into other pictorial formats, especially in terms of cartoons, and when you exaggerate certain features, right, the detection becomes much more convenient because the crucial facial features are now exaggerated. So connecting this to the first study that we started in 2008, where we understood what are the perceptual components where they focus at, and then uh, trying to just match it with the kind of facial features that would be looked at and that are looked at, and the way the brain processes those signals. Now we are in a position to come forward with another picture database, uh, the Indian Affective Picture Database 2, which has three components. And interestingly, the static photo frames that you see right now on the screen, the front view, we have angular views, but instead of having 5 angles, we have now only 3 angles, the plus minus 45, where you see two-thirds of the face, both the left and the right profiles. And we have the dynamic side of it. Means it's a video where you can change, you can see the changes that takes place on the surface of the skin. And besides that, we also have the caricature of it. So static, dynamic, with facial layers, without facial layers, and with the caricature. And on the extreme right, you see the postures associated with different kinds of emotional states. So this is the current work. We have just published one part of it, which is only analyzing different facial expression databases. And I'm hopeful that in the time to come, my understanding is that in next 2 years or so, we would be in a position to come forward with a much more refined version of this test where it can be taken to the field. I see Chaturvedi ji here, and her center has been very helpful to us for all, right from starting from 2015 till 2025. Various researchers have visited her center, and she has been very kind to us, very generous to us. And the current work that I shared with you, where the Indian Affective Picture Database 2 is being tested on neuroatypical children. Rumaji's center, the PKMC, is one of the centers which is where it is being currently tested. We have also moved to a twin city here, Lucknow, where we have taken a couple of centers there. There also we are trying to study this, and it has been, I would say, quite engaging journey for the research team here at IIT Kanpur. It has been little productive, I would say, because of people like Rumaji helping us connect to these kids, because of researchers like Professor Grijesh Prasad and Ryan, who have been instrumental. And the best part, I would say, is where we have looked at it from a diverse viewpoint. No, it is, our team is not a team only of psychologists. We have psychologists, computer vision people, electrical engineering people, computer science people, psychiatrists, a whole battery of people. And the young blood of research scholars coming in with bubbling ideas, new ideas that can be tried, tested. So that's all about the kind of research related to autism spectrum disorder that we have been carrying out at IIT Kanpur. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for such a nice talk and moving us through the different and advanced research that's happening in IIT Kanpur. And we're really uh, thankful for you to, showing us such a nice work which has been done in recent years. So we, as a student and as a professionals, will also learn from this that what kind of development is happening in India in the field of research in IIT Kanpur. So thank you, sir, for such a nice talk again. So now at we are at the end of this program. So I'm supposed to talk. We are already running late. So, but already the topic and the area that has been actually thought of has been mostly covered by different individuals and the speakers. What I would like to say as a clinical researcher and a therapist is that, one of the most important aspects of autism spectrum disorder is its heterogeneity. Like, not a single autistic individual, what you see is alike. Everyone is different, and the manifestation of the symptom in everyone is also different. So in reality, the spectrum is not a linear scale. We have to see it like a multidimensional profile. An individual may have a very high cognitive ability, but still struggle with sensory regulation. So we come across such kind of kids where they might be very good at maths or in pattern matching, or might be very good at different subjects, but they might be just struggling in social communication, because of which they were not accommodated in different spaces of life, not accommodated in the school, because such a awareness is not there in terms of the heterogeneity of the symptom that present in autism. So one of the concern of mine in autism is one that is very that's something that has been my concern for the last many years, is autism with intellectual disability, because the number is very high. Because when we talk about autism, we use some terminologies like high functioning autism and low functioning autism, which is in some sense does not actually explain or resonates the diversity that we see in the ground, right? So, and it also somehow misleads people. Basically, people, researchers like us also will sometimes get misled, because it's not clear when you talk about a high functioning and low functioning. What is mean by high functioning? Because the narrative of neurodiversity is basically been uh, taken forward by people who are very high functioning, whose diagnosis has been late, but they understood that they were in a spectrum, but somehow they were being able to diagnose by themselves, and they have been vocal about it. But the dominant narrative has become, of high functioning autism. But when it comes to the number of autism with intellectual disability is very high. So it affects approximately like 30 to 40% of individuals on the spectrum, right? So there is no equal awareness and equal dominance of narratives in terms of discussion regarding diversities in autism. So when autism co-occurs with intellectual disability, we see distinct profiles, often including global developmental delays, like challenges with abstract thinking and limited independence in daily functioning. So importantly, these individuals are not less than others on the spectrum. They simply have different profiles of support needs that are more intensive, often lifelong, and just as deserving of recognition and respect. And one of the most pressing challenges in autism with intellectual disability is the lack of lifespan oriented care, that most of the speakers, even parents and even policymakers, they have pointed out rightly that this is one of the most important pressing issues, which is lifespan, a lack of lifespan oriented care, where we can, a kind of a comprehensive setup where we can put our child and can have therapy to vocational training to make and also giving them a kind of a dignified life where acceptance of their diversity should be there, right? So most of the service that we are into mostly focus on early interventions, but what happens after school age? So families often find themselves without adequate daycare services, vocational programs, or long-term housing options. So this was rightly been pointed out by a lot of other members when they spoke about it. What should we follow is like we should be having an ongoing collaborative and compassionate model of support that leads to a kind of a dignified life, right? So in terms of research and in terms of advocacy also, we see the dominant narrative of high functioning autistic individuals, because as we know that when disability, when occurs in kind of in a cognitive aspect, the advocacy has to become from parents and basically from policymakers and researchers. So basically, families find themselves navigating fragmented systems, which we really, most of them are pointed out. We must also challenge there is one of the thing that I also come across very often, that, that there is assumption that speech equals understanding, and that this absence of a spoken language reflects a lack of cognitive or emotional depth. So many of us, because of the non-awareness of diversity, we feel that many non-speaking individuals with autism, they lack language, and because of that they lack understanding, which is not the case. Many non-speaking individual with autism, with intellectual disability, they express themselves through alternative means. We have nowadays a lot of alternative means to develop, to for them to communicate. We have Avaz app. I recently, yesterday only, I saw one kid who, to communicate, he rubs his hands. So the parent has understood in the process of working with him, that whenever he rubs his hand, he has something to say. The only thing is, parent has need to give the word or the proper phrase to him. So such kind of diverse communication patterns may develop in autism, or the children with autism spectrum disorder. We know that there are examples like Naoki in Japan, who has written 2 books, and who cannot speak but who can write, who has written books, right? So we have examples even from India, who is in the US now, who has written a book, autistic adult. So such things has to be taken for consideration, and we should be aware of such kind of diversity in the field. So I would also like to talk about a little bit about inclusion, right? So inclusion has been a talk of many years. So inclusions, inclusion should not be conditional. So too often individuals too often individuals with autism, with intellectual disability, are left out of classrooms, playgrounds, and even conversations and neurodiversity, right? So inclusions, no, in the name of inclusion, what has happened recently was it's sad to say that this has happened in India, in different parts of the country, which where I went recently. We saw that we don't have trained professionals. There are no trained professionals, and students have been put in schools for long years. They have been promoted, but because of lack of facilities, their time has been wasted in the system. Which time, in that time, that time would have been used properly for giving them therapies, as well as for vocational training and all. So I want to just conclude by saying this thing, that as a professionals, as a researcher, as a advocacy, as a parent, we all have to come together and have to work together, so that even policy making and all these things can get affected by what we are thinking and what kind of opinion we make. So this kind of discussions and this kind of gatherings are very important, so that if we can bring people like Rajendra sir, people like Secretary sir was there today, which make such little difference. At least we can voice out the concerns that is in the raw ground for the policy making people. So for in that aspect, this I would say that this this program is in sort of successful in that aspect. So I would like to thank everyone. And before that, I would like to bring Professor Girijesh Prasad, who is actually the main main organizer of this event. I would like to invite Girijesh Prasad sir to please conclude the program. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sir, Girijesh sir, are you there? Girijesh sir. Yeah. Girijesh Prasad. GIRI. And also that discussion. So if anyone of you have some questions, if I can brief about those. Someone just open the comment section. If anyone has any questions, so they can ask. Uh, there's Dr. Tapas Basu. So what he says is, I would like to read upon Dr. Tapas Basu's question. He says that I would request all to stop ABA therapy for ASD as it develops a mechanical child rather than emotional intelligence one. And please clear through this platform that autism treatment does not need speech therapy until it is there any structural deformity. So this is an occupational therapist. It was his actually opinion, I think. I know that we may disagree on so many aspects, but it's okay to have uh, such questions. So next we have a question for Ruma Madam. If you can brief about the skill training you started for your kid and share such institutions details. Ruma ma'am, there is a question for you.
Yeah, I'll take it up. Thank you, Dhuniraji. So, right now at this age, there is a program that's conducted by Action for Autism, and which is an employment readiness program. So I've just joined in. You can go to their website and look into this program. So it actually sort of centers around teaching those skills which are needed for getting an employment and sustaining one. Right? So AFA. Thank you.
Professor Girizes has not been able to join. I would like to request Professor Brajbhushan sir to conclude this session. Sir.
I think Rajesh sir joined sometime back. I saw him, but then I think there might be some connection issue there.
Yes, sir. There's some connection issues with it.
So on behalf of Professor Grijesh Prasad, I think Grijesh is now online. You can see him. And Dr. Ryan, both are here. So I extend my sincere thanks to all of you who decided to join on this important topic on a Saturday. Half a day has gone, little more than half a day has gone into it. And especially, a special thanks to Niraj and all his team at Sikandrabad. I'm sure you must have put a lot of effort, right from making the flyer to ensuring that everything goes well. Keeping the panel members active for half a day, keeping them engaged, it's not an easy job. But most importantly, different experiences being shared at a common platform. All of us get enriched in this process. So right from parents to caregivers to specialists to researchers, everybody has their own role. And if they all exchange their ideas, their experiences, collectively we grow. And our growth ensures that the clinically diverse population all across the world gets the benefit. NIPID that way has an important role to play. You are at a prime location wherein you can be an interface of those who require scientifically validated interventions. You can be a place which can coordinate all kinds of scientific discoveries taking place all around the world. You can be the face of the Indian researchers in this domain. So thanks to the organizers locally at Sikandrabad, thanks to Ulster University for being instrumental in extending all the support. And I'll stop here because I can see Grijesh here online. I was only filling the gap, Grijesh.
Yes, I fully understand and appreciate. Problem is my connection is breaking and making all the time, so it's very disturbing. Sorry for that. Yes, you have treated rather better than me, I have to say. So I must first of all thank and appreciate immensely Dhoni Raj, especially through Ria. I came to know him very, very recently. I think it was maybe less than a month. And here we are. We have what, 171 participants? My God, that's a mind-boggling figure, isn't it? And all the areas, all the stakeholders. If I'm not wrong, Brajbhushan, our previous virtual workshop was not this well attended, but no less credit to that. So certainly we have made progress. So from in-person to virtual 1 and virtual 2 is much better attended, no doubt about that. But it all happened within a matter of, I think, a week. Last week, I came to Hyderabad 2nd of July in the night, and 3rd of July I've been working day and night. Not I, Dhuni, Ria, and myself, and of course with help from Ulster remotely, to get the paradigm working, start, as I said, compassionate onboarding of autistic children to our paradigm, and it's going so well. I mean, I couldn't believe that in such a short time it should be possible, creating paradigm, getting children on board, asking and them to participate, people with autism. Steps involved, and it has happened, which is sometimes we feel is a miracle, but it has. And on the top of that, there's such a nice workshop where really all stakeholders have been involved in true sense. I wouldn't like to take your time and mention every invited speaker, but they certainly have contributed immensely, and I don't think there is anything left to cover. Policymakers, psychiatrists, parents, practitioners, therapists, clinicians, every aspect is covered. And certainly it has been very, very eye-opener for us in many ways. How to think of a research problem that we need to handle. How should we, what approach should be taken, especially compassionate, no doubt about that. But certainly we are dealing with here not patients, they are individual, and they are here in Indian terms, Divyang, special, really special in true sense. So we have to treat and see how we can help them to flourish, and they don't have less potential, they have more potential. Yes. It's just that they are different from typically developed individuals, as we call it. They are different from neurotypical. So lots of information for us to take and grasp and make use of. Nevertheless, I think we have done a good job, and I must be grateful and thankful to Dhuni Raj and his team for doing this in such a short time. Thank you all very much.
Session here. Thank you. Thanks for participation.
Thank you also from myself, Ryan at Ulster. I really appreciate the hard work. To reiterate what Gurjesh just said, like Ria and Janiraj and Braj. Braj did not give himself enough credit there. But really thank you from Northern Ireland here, and I hope that this has been success. I think that this has been successful, but I hope everybody else thinks the same, and really hope that we can get some good analysis done with the data already done over there, and maybe some more data to come. Maybe we can, at least Ria and Juniraj and the team there, have something to go on now to possibly get more data trials done. From those trials, from that data, then we can begin to build on our paradigm going forward and getting a really solid diagnosis tool, basically from from the diverse team here that certainly could not be possible without the diverse team. As Bryce has stated there, computer scientists, psychiatrists, lecturers, doctors, policymakers, everything in between. It's just not, a study such as this is just not possible without the diverse nature of expertise. So thank you from Northern Ireland, and I really, really hope next time I can make it over in person. It's just unfortunate this time that I wasn't, and I really look forward to meeting you all if I do. And it won't be possible unless there's further funding, and I'm pretty sure there might be funding now after this success of this one. So thank you very much all, and I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you so much.
Okay.
We end the session here. Thank you.